Isn't there something like that? Yeah. That's why they went to Namek in the first. I'm not quite sure.
The other fan sign was making it look a little bit more doomed. I saw the Dom 1 brackets. We're feeling ill on the roller coaster, and the Nuggery was throwing up on the KT ROLSTER coaster.
It's not quite it.
I'm worried for NONGSHIM here, but I think a ban on the Yorick does make sense. It's been one of the other champions that Perfect has really pushed towards here in round 2 onward. The Vi is just a permanent fix. Remember, KT, by the way, if they win this third game, there'll be 6 in a row, and they've done it 3 times in this series on red side.
Yep.
Just to put that into perspective.
And twice in the last series on red side as well, right? They started off on blue, but then DK lost a whole bunch of times. So this is a lot of red side practice for KT, and they're making it look like their preferred side right now, as Cuz's Nidalee is going to be taken away. Something that he has found so much success on. And I think the Nidalee ban actually helps stop BDD from playing Corki as well, which he's really good at.
Ban Azir here, right? And call it a day, and see what the first pick is going to come out as.
I imagine that could be something like that, and there it is.
So what's the prio pick here now? For the side of NONGSHIM Red Force, maybe an Ahri draft, because the Pantheon gets left open this time, so
that makes some sense.
There's a lot of different ways you can play around this global here. If they want to. They don't have Camille Galio, sadly, because Camille's gone already, but if it's a strong matchup for the Galio in the mid lane, perhaps that could be an angle here. It's KT on the other side. BDD doesn't have to make his choice right now. Actually gonna look for the Renekton, even with that ban on the Nidalee.
Yeah, Renekton coming in. This could be a Cuz Lilia angle, but instead they are going to lock in the Ahri for BDD.
I mean, Ahri plus Pantheon is super strong, so they want to deny that. I think that's a wise call here from the side of KT ROLSTER. And the Renekton feels pretty safe blind, and with the performances we're seeing from Perfect across this series, I feel like you can kind of trust that. I wouldn't have trusted that from Perfect in round 1, but I feel pretty good about it here in this series, as Calyx will drop the Annie mid as the pool gets thinned out further. Pretty strong with the Pantheon.
Yep, not too bad. Has been adjusted a little bit on this patch, but it is like, what, W damage down, armor up, something like that.
Yeah, it's
not entirely sure whether it's done too much.
Not really a change of how it operates in Pro. A little bit weaker laning phase, arguably, but... And honestly, not even that much.
Yeah, and paired alongside a Pantheon, you're still going to find a whole lot of value, as the Elise will be finally priority picked for Lehends.
This feels like Lehends is just playing what he wants, and that's often a good thing.
Yeah.
But it's very early in this draft and very blind and face up here, so it does allow KT ROLSTER to draft their bottom side around it. So we do see the Nocturne being considered here instead of the Viego. Thought with Cuz's proficiency on the Viego, he'd be looking for that here, but a lot of ways to lock down Paperman and not allow him to play the game. So going for the Nocturne, which has been so strong in team fights and objective fights where you just turn the lights off and make it so difficult for even Annie to set up that stun or set up that flank because she can't see where the targets are. Feels pretty good.
Can certainly work.
And he can just spell shield her stun if he plays it well.
I feel like KT don't have the same level of synergy that we've seen in the last couple of team comps that they put together in the first 3 picks, but these are still strong picks. We're moving later and later into Fearless Draft, and so more and more options have been removed. Now going to be taken away here from Kingen.
I think the Jax will probably be the final ban here from KT, because it works really well with the Pantheon and can be a strong match with the Gwen, as they once again target Peter on this Nico, which is great into the Elise as well.
Yep. I was wondering about the Aatrox situation.
Aatrox also a fine ban. I would agree with that. I think both of those picks pretty smart here to ban away from Kingen. You never know what Kingen's going to do. He has quite an unusual champion pool, but he does normally stick to the basics, especially in a game like this.
Ooh,
and the Kai'Sa instead.
I actually thought that Kai'Sa might fit the KT comp.
Yeah, I actually kind of thought so too.
They just take it away.
Yeah, it allows them to go a little bit more all-in on dive. Can be a tough lane into whatever Geo is playing with this Elise, though. So I guess that's part of why they decide to ban it.
Ah, it's an Ezreal angle. That's why they take it away.
I think that's what they're angling for here, but it can just be banned in this final spot.
Do they decide to do that? Because, of course, you know, Braum's still something that they might want to consider.
Xayah
can have a fair bit of value, as there's the Lucian takeaway.
Xayah also feels pretty decent here for KT with their composition that's kind of dive-focused. And you do end up getting to control the pace of those fights, and the low range doesn't necessarily matter. So they pick the Xayah. And Geo has been known to be a strong Zeri player who can clean up team fights. When he gets to the Supreme late game, like he has carried quite a few of these, but it doesn't have that much power with this Elise necessarily in the lane.
Yeah.
There are a lot of other picks. I like the Ezreal way more for what it does for this draft.
I think nameplate's off. I think the Ezreal does fit. I think Jiu trying... Oh, okay, that's a cannon locked in against the Renekton. This is something that we have seen many times in the past. It's a tale as old as time as far as top lane matchups are concerned. King going to try his hand at it when it's been mainly Zeus playing it this season as the Xayah Rakan, the obvious lock-in.
I think that it feels pretty obvious, but it also is kind of risky into this comp. If you get caught by anything, if you're trying to make that flank and then Pantheon just stuns you, you're so squishy into a comp that will blow you up, but that requires a lot of things to go your way. And you can't even see the Rakan engage because the Nocturne ultimate is coming out, makes it a little bit difficult.
We need one more here against NONGSHIM Red Force. This time, I'd agree with you. I think that I kind of like what NONGSHIM have put together. It's very short range. They're playing into a Xayah that can be a problem, but that's a lot of pressure on Doctarm to perform in this game. I don't think it's a draft problem for KT moving into game number 3. It's going to have to be a full switch up from NONGSHIM mentally to get back into this series. All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, and we're already fighting. Lehens goes up, goes down, and then goes down truly. And there's first blood going over to BDD. We needed the mental reset. We're going to need another one. All right, there is the knock-up onto Jiwoo. And, okay, Perfect goes home.
In terms of gold, a win for KT, but let's see if Kingen...
Oh my god, he was already starting the back. Like, Perfect, can you try being afraid of a something?
KT will lose a lot of health bars here. We'll have to reset the reset time a little bit worse for them, but see how this did start off here as Lehens goes for an aggressive level 1. Looking for the cocoon on because gets the electrocute proc, but BD starts charm, and yeah, there's just not enough NONGSHIM here. Unfortunately, Kingen at level 1 is not going to be able to impact this play.
They didn't expect the rest of KT to be over the wall.
Yeah, it just not any information, still committing to it. And this is the coin flip you often get with this Elise pick, especially when Lehens is playing it. Yep, calling out to go for Elise, got him. Nice.
Just having a bit of a giggle.
He's like, leave.
Yeah.
Please, get out.
Please get the heck out. Lands the charm to stop Jiu from getting a few extra autos in. Press the attack can be pretty dangerous, so Cocoon going to be connecting once more here towards the bottom side as another repel going to get forced out, but Doctarm and Peter not necessarily going to be super powerful in this lane to start things off, especially up against this Elise that does have so much early power. Maybe not with just Cocoon Repel, but...
I don't think this is a loss here for NONGSHIM that's going to make you feel like this game is doomed for sure. It's a big lead for BDD, but they still have that strong lane in the bottom lane. Obviously, the range advantage here for Kennen in the top side. And the game won't really change that much from the extra gold that BDD picked up, to be honest. As you can see here, the Annie is still even pushing this lane in. Not going to impact things right now, but really nice defensive play there from KT, and NONGSHIM kind of overextending, looking for that play, just not having the vision they needed. And I think it speaks to the desperation of being down 0-2 against this insanely powered up KT. And I think when it comes to the draft here, for NONGSHIM, it's just about the mid-game. You have to get through the mid-game without making big mistakes. Otherwise, you are going to have a really tough time. If the Nocturne comp has vision, has map control, it becomes so much more difficult to play out here.
Some zooms coming in here as both mid laners are getting low. One thing fun to talk about is the fact that it's lethal tempo Kennen. This has been Kingen's favorite, is the on-hit AD Kennen in his top matchups, whereas Zeus would definitely be going more of the AP route.
He has gone AD though, Zeus.
Yeah, he's done a bit of it in the past. It's just that this season, we've seen both of these, the different variants.
He is going to get dove here. It looks like Gideon's got the full stacks for that extra stun.
Yep, only level 3 here for Perfect as well as PDD is solo killed underneath his turret. That's kind of insane. The flash forward from Perfect, he's trying to go for it here, and he finds the 2v1. It is still going to be followed up, but that is a brilliant outcome here for the KT top laner after it all went wrong in mid.
Yeah, mid lane, kind of a disaster there for BDD. As we'll see how that eventuated in its entirety in the replay. But this is really a great start here for NONGSHIM after what was a blunder at level 1. Ending up getting 2 kills here for the one. Good trade back from Perfect, best possible case scenario, but he is still struggling into this AD cannon and is significantly down in CS as BDD gets stunned.
Oh, and the Orb Deception does go wide. He just overstepped.
Yeah, it's just a Electrocute flash auto. Good read there by Calyx, knowing the exact timing of the Electrocute proc.
Yep.
And then Perfect here, going for the stun afterwards was actually quite brilliant. Does, of course, have his flash available, so he can flash for this stun here. The extra turret shot goes through. He has the damage. Will still, of course, go down to the cannon. But without that play, he ends up just dying for free. Yep. Will lose his flash, of course, and still not going to be in a great spot in this lane. Picked up a no magic mantle and is actually just getting the hell out of that lane. In fact, he's just going to go lane into Ezreal instead.
That looks to be the angle. I think understanding the Merc Treads are going to be incredibly powerful, even if it is an AD cannon that he's going to be facing. Largely going to be physical damage that he's going to need to worry about, but you do just need to mitigate the stuns that are coming from everywhere in that 2v2.
Yeah, this Renekton is not going to be in this game anytime soon, though. So that's a big issue here for KT. Yeah. A lot of their mid-game power.
Well, there's the flash cocoon. It's come through from Lehens. A little bit of a split as far as the targets, but Peter is still taking so much damage. Does make his way out of there as Cuz will turn up to look to defend. And BDD fighting back here in this mid lane, really wanting to make up for some lost ground. And this start is so much better for NONGSHIM.
It's their best start of the series so far for sure.
And we know now that it's Wadid's fault.
Yeah, Laura's not going to be happy about that one.
Yeah, she was already disappointed, and now it's just kind of over.
Well, a lot of focus here on this top side, knowing the Renekton is basically a potato at this point in time. Calling him a handbag would be giving too much credit, I think, at this point.
Yeah, handbags can do a lot of damage. Like, you know, like the handbags with the bricks in them that the grandmas carry around sometimes, just to fend off from the bad guys.
Yeah, no, it's, you know, you put anything in there,
yeah, it can be dangerous.
With it.
This is a handbag with a pillow in it.
Yeah, potato unfortunately just goes with a lot of dishes, but isn't really going to hurt you. I mean, now if he was a hot potato, I feel like we can't even give him that, though, to be honest.
I mean, it depends. Like, a potato can be dangerous. Like, you've seen some of these potato cannons. They can get pretty dangerous.
Yeah, I just don't know if he's got a gun.
Maybe it's not even a potato. Maybe it's something else.
King 6.
Yeah, Keen's going to go in. Does get the stun down onto Doctarm. The flash over as Doctarm's going to have to flash, get himself out of the way. Doesn't have the Blade Caller just yet, but they don't have the damage to take down the Xayah.
That was really clean on both sides. Doctarm gauging that really well, weaving in those auto damage just to make sure they can't follow-up dive him with the damage he did there and then get away. But the follow flash there from King was actually beautifully played. Get over the knock-up attempt there from Peter. That's perfect, yeah.
Arcane Shift.
Yeah.
That works.
And this Renekton is very far behind in farm, and the Ezreal is just chilling. So feels very good about this lane. And this allows Lehens to have a lot more power elsewhere on the map with this lane assignment with the Elise, which is exactly where he wants to be. See it back to come through, though, as we're swapping the Ezreal back topside. And level 6 isn't ready just yet for Gideon. A little bit of advantage for Cuz. I don't know if we'll really be able to utilize it right now, though. It's not really much to engage onto. They're going to try to take this dragon first, and with the prio they actually got bottom side with that Ezreal swap back to top lane. NONGSHIM are just going to lose this one for free. Yeah, no contest. I mean, they're kind of in the area, but does not have enough oomph to stop this one.
Well, Perfect is going for a wraparound here, and they turn the lights off. They're going for the cannon, the flash forward to guarantee the fear as in comes Gideon, but Perfect is just playing defense while Kingin is getting taken down lower and lower. Still, he does manage to make it out, and there's no flash on Perfect. He doesn't have the dice, didn't get that one activated, and the cocoon placement is so good. Lehens able to help take him down.
BD gets a plate in mid lane, but I think NONGSHIM are very happy with the kill they grabbed over. We'll continue to have a pretty significant gold lead here, and we'll keep the Renekton out of the lane, keeping him unable to farm. BD actually might greed for a second.
Yeah, 2 plates is a lot.
Yeah,
actually, as the charm is going to connect. Molten Shield not really helping Calyx out too much here, and there is the plate money.
Yeah, big money for BDD in this one. You can see Doctarm a level down here, as he will get level 6 off this minion. Is not feeling great, though, about how his lane is going. BDD lurking. I think this is a bit dangerous because there is a ward.
There's so much vision for NONGSHIM, actually. Let's check this one out once again.
I really like this call from KT. They're so incredibly confident. Cuz goes for the flash to guarantee the fear goes through here. The problem is Pantheon could be here at a moment's notice because he hits level 6 off, I believe, the red buff just moments before. If he doesn't have ult and the timing of this is just a little bit faster, I think this works incredibly well for KT. They still got the dragon, but they bit off a little bit more than they could chew there. Great response there from Gideon and NONGSHIM. King played it well on top of it all, but Really cool play there to see them collapse using the Renekton, using the Cuz flash there to guarantee the fear on the cannon, try to prevent him from getting value in that fight.
Didn't have quite enough damage with Perfect not being there, so a little bit unfortunate. But of course, KT a little bit further behind this time around. Gonna have to play some honest League of Legends here in game number 3. And I'm glad, because I feel like we're finally casting a game.
Yeah, no, this is actually a real game.
Instead of just Stompsville that we've been living in for the last couple of them.
And I want to see what happens when KT doesn't have a lead. How do they respond?
Yep, Sly's going to come on through there as he at least has his Merc Treads done. Now with the Dominus and the teleport coming in, Perfect looking to stand his ground. Will get stunned up as the flash forward to try and lock down Lehens, and he just explodes.
Reset.
Yeah, now BDD with that reset angle, but not going to be able to get in there. And look, Cuz actually holds the paranoia, doesn't dive on top of the cannon, will just let him get underneath the turret. And they understand that NONGSHIM need to be respected in this game, especially this cannon.
Yeah, I think that was a wise call to back away. And, you know, there's not much use for that Nocturne ultimate for the next few minutes, so it won't necessarily feel bad that they end up losing that one without actually committing to it. See how aggressive BDD wants to be here. He may be caught.
Yeah, doesn't have Spirit Rush. Charm is going to connect really nice from BDD there, and Orbit Deception is doing a lot of damage. It's just a lost chapter.
Uh-oh, Calyx getting baited.
Yeah, there's a grand entrance, and Perfect just walks over and holds him in place. Still, Calyx not going to be dying just yet. Throws a bear down, because sometimes you just want to do that.
Yep.
Throw a canyon into the lane.
BDD is just chilling here.
Yeah, Lehens is in a little bit of trouble. There's 3 people, so Lehens shouldn't be in trouble, but it looked like he was.
Now, I guess, technically speaking, if Cuz had his paranoia when they looked for that catch on the Calyx and he had it, he would have looked for the kill there, and feels bad he didn't have it. But I mean, they're just getting warrior on the bottom side.
Wait.
Perfect.
There's a crocodile. Okay. We saw the drop bear before. What about the drop crocodile?
Perfect is just resigned to, I don't kill minions, I try to help my team kill champions. He's just like, I'm not actually in this game, really. I'm not really in a lane. I'll catch which minions I can, the ones I can find. I'm just going to chill in mid for a second. Tries to get a bear. Sadly will not. For his sake, for Calyx is very happy he does not get that bear. But he's just going to chill here, grab these minions, and look for another play there on the Lehens. Now, maybe in trouble.
Yeah.
But not really.
Perfect did manage to last hit the minions with the slice, so has that dice available. And Doctom is still up here towards his top side, still about, you know, north of 10 CS behind. Not quite 20 against you as Peter moving over. To get this ward.
What gives you hope for a NONGSHIM is the fact that they've been able to draft something that works really well from ahead and then got a pretty significant lead, right? And the coordination has been good. If you're a KT fan, you're pretty happy, I think, with how aggressively KT have been able to find some ins in this game despite it. Well, they're just not yet enough. As you can see here, Perfect is still, like, as I said, he resigned himself to not laning. He does kind of still have to get the minions. He doesn't have a support item, you know? So Lehens is also just lurking to look to cocoon him, and you know what? Kingen has flash and ult, and Perfect may die, even though BDD is waiting.
Yeah. Lehens does find that cocoon as there is the Dominus.
Oh
Keep Perfect alive, and oh, it was all a bait! And look at all of the health with that Culver Meek. That was kind of massive, but Gideon comes down. PDD now running for the hills as Cuz finally gets in. Didn't actually press the button. I think he was out of range to actually join the fight. So KT not really finding the angle there outside of getting the 1-for-1 and killing the more valuable top laner.
Yeah, arguably a trade up here, as that's not going to affect anything, but Lehens very greedy with this. If that charm hits, I think this is definitely a kill to go over to KT ROLSTER. But this is going to be NONGSHIM taking this second Dragon of the game into our inevitable 6th Chemtech Soul in a row that we will have here in our road to MSI. But
oh, the flash! BDD, he did kind of connect the charm. That
it's Ocean.
Weird. And, okay, well, we're not going to get 6 in a row, which would be kind of cool. We'll just get the next worst dragon instead. You're not off the hook, Ox.
All right, this is starting to be too much here, though. I mean, NONGSHIM can really do no wrong here. Nice spell shield. Yeah, Fear is going to be put together as the flashes are traded as Gideon goes in. Out goes Peter after the battle dance. Actually pretty cutely played as Doctom gets behind the minions. That's going to keep alive against you. That's the turret, I think, for NONGSHIM. They are completely denying KT from getting anywhere near it. So much farm is being lost. This Renekton falling further and further behind. Perfect, trying for something. Yeah, looking to dive on top here as he's going lower and lower. The Cocoon going to go wide this time as BDD getting a lot of value out of that true damage.
They just want to get towards the turret. Oh, the play caller comes through and Dum! He gets the 1v1 against Jude. That was sick flashes everywhere. And the Spiderling's going to tank up the charm. Another paranoia comes in as Peter gets the quickness and he stays alive. Cuz gets into the back line and now he's looking to rend them down. Calix comes in. He's got a bear in tow and he's looking scary. But oh, the instant interrupt. That crocodile was ready to go ballistic, but they had the slicing maelstrom, and NONGSHIM this time have some answers.
I mean, it's always one step forward, but two steps back here. The fact that KT's getting these steps though is huge.
Oh my god, okay, BDD.
BDD, what the hell?
This game needs to calm down.
Peter's play in that last play. You can't make that play unless you have insane aura, insane confidence. You don't care about your own life. You don't care about anything but the team. The fact that Perfect is this far behind and still making these trades happen. I mean, it's still 1,000 gold to lead here for NONGSHIM, but the gold has shrunk. Still so much power in that bottom lane, and KT find their way into some of these defensive fights. Duckdom getting the solo defensive kill topside feels massive because now he's got a gold lead. BD is popping off. I mean, some of the things I am watching with my eyes here, what Peter does in this moment.
Like, how does he live?
It's so insane. He gets back and nobody can touch him. No auto from Calix there on top of him because the paranoia is down, so it's really hard to react. That's what I was talking about. When the paranoia goes down, it's really hard to actually play around this
Oh, slicing maelstrom just came off. Just came off.
He wants to have that Q. He wants to Q them. He wants to look for a double there. But he is shut down. Watch Duckdom also be a god over here. KT is playing this game on hard mode, but making it look playable.
I mean, it's still in a really rough spot, right? Like, this
100%
not long for the world on the bottom side of the map. But let's have a look at this from Duckdom's perspective. Getting the feathers in position.
And live.
Oh, and we've got more fighting as KT in a great position here. Two just explode, and the charm is going to connect. BDD is now looking to get these resets and get out. Oh, the orb of deception he prepared earlier is gorgeously placed. True Shot Barrage is going to soften them up, and BDD has another charge available. Giu needs to be careful as Peter looking for an angle. Tanks up the turret momentarily. They're going to take this one down, and BDD is going to look for the charm. Was actually expecting Giu to try and escape, and instead, Giu just kills him. And now Perfect is trying to slice his way out of the way of the bear, and the Annie doesn't have the mobility to chase after him. They take down the mid-outer turret, and KT move towards a gold lead for the first time in this game.
KT got an extra charge there on the inner. BDD, you can't blame him for predicting the shift there. I think it was a wise little charm angle, but anyways, still, Giu outplays him there, is really patient, takes him out, so that's a kill over to NONGSHIM, but we need to really see what happened here because we came into this so late, and it's just 3 here for NONGSHIM. Giu isn't there, the paranoia goes down, and Peter once again, when the lights are off, man, he gets in there, and BDD is just able to chase, gets the reset. Then looks for this play on the Giu. I don't know if we'll watch it, but...
Oh yeah, there we are. We skipped.
So predicting the shift there, and predicting the movement, really, I don't know if that's... The angle he took actually, I think, was a bit short for a shift predict, but either way, predicting, doesn't get the kill, ends up dying himself. But now, there's leads everywhere except the top lane. Kingen is now the only person in this game who, for NONGSHIM, has a significant lead, and against BDD here, won't have the same side pressure he had into the Renekton as Gideon's coming up for a play, but KT are matching.
Yeah, they're going to get here, and the paranoia is going to start this one off. The slicing maelstrom goes down, but he's taking the turret, and he just gets wiped out. Gideon puts up the shield as Calix, he can't get in, and they've singled out the jungler. BDD gets it. Another reset to come in here as he dives after Lehans. Those pesky spiderlings gonna soak yet another charm, and they do make their way out, but 2 already dead, and NONGSHIM are crumbling once again after a great early game here in game 3.
Perfect is just chilling in the bottom lane. They make the play topside there, where they have their strong point, where they have the cannon, but KT were ready for them. It feels like they've just read NONGSHIM like a book in all these scenarios across all 3 games, and yes, the Renekton is practically worthless in this game, but he's now starting to get farm. Now he's putting a dent in that gold lead that Kingen had because he's left alone here while KT win top side and get a free turret bottom side. Some farm here lost in the mid lane nearly, but it's a cannon wave. And I thought we had a series. I saw it on my hands, Atlas.
Yeah, it was kind of written, and now it's just rubbed off. You know, it's like you got a tattoo and unfortunately...
It was a henna!
It was a fake tattoo.
It was a henna, and henna's not even playing in the LCK anymore.
Yeah, it's really sad, actually. That being said, I'm glad he's still playing somewhere.
Yeah, no, I love henna, man.
Our bro boys need to make sure that they just keep playing forever no matter what they're doing, because they're just the best vibes outside of Peter, who is the best vibes. BDD now potentially in trouble as Spirit Rush. One heck of a button. and he presses that, and now he's going to look to try and turn it here onto Gideon. Takes a bit of true damage there from the Orb of Deception as well, as Dr. looking to chase after them.
Does just ult on Dragon to make it so they can't actually follow up on BDD. Yeah, what a pro!
Well, and also NONGSHIM were obviously preparing for an engage. Speaking of engage, Peter finds the angle, gets the double charm, Gideon flashes away. And yeah, this Peter guy is a bit of a surgeon on the Rakan today. As Perfect goes in, Kingin still very strong though. As we mentioned before, the teleport going to come down. Strikebreaker going to help hold the cannon in position. Flashes traded, and the slice gets him out.
I mean, it's not AP cannon, so you can trade ults like this and actually feel pretty good about it because the ultimate for NONGSHIM's team fighting is actually pretty important. And they got the teleport out of Calyx for this. So feels like a big win for Perfect here. He doesn't actually end up living, has to flash away, but it's a trade of flashes as well. And I mean, there's the confidence on KT. Like, Peter's having his delight arc almost, it feels like I'm watching right now.
No, it's actually kind of ridiculous. Having a look here, and the paranoia and the fact that the Nocturne is just like, doesn't even really need to be there, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
The play afterwards, in fact, he pressed the button and then didn't actually show up.
Yeah, no, he wasn't even anywhere near. And then, so after that, Perfect gets the turret bottom side. Lehens, are you hiding for them or are they hiding for you?
Oh dear. Well, the spider's going to go up and then comes down again. And now the paranoia comes out yet again. Gideon trying to find a target here, but they've already lost one. And look at these health bars melt. Carl's looking to try and get out of there. Gideon's baited forward because he just wants anything, and he will be denied. Perfect will get taken down as Jiu able to find yet another missing shot. What was that arcane shift? That was insanity. The charm hits, and he is cut down where he stands. The ace comes in as Dom locks up a triple. He's 5-0-4, undying in this game as this Xayah, and they'll take an Otacon, and then whatever the heck else they...
I guess the summer of KT came a little bit early this season, Atlas, because we don't have summer season anymore, but we're still at the halfway point. We haven't started rounds 3 yet. They made it to the Legend group, but this team is on fire. I thought for sure with the leads that NONGSHIM had early, I thought for sure with Perfect's deficit, that at worst case scenario, if KT had the miracle comeback, at least it wasn't going to be a one-sided game, but in fact, it looks like we might just have 3 one-sided 3-0 here for KT. Let's look at this fight here. It's a desperate start on the Otacon as Lehens is getting caught here, trying to catch anyone who follows up, trying to come in to stop the Otacon take, and KT just come in here and dismantle them. BDD gets Reset City, and unfortunately for Jiwo here, yes, he gets a kill back, but he won't be able to stop the inevitable. Tries for it.
That arcane shift was absolutely insane.
Yeah,
I mean, I think he was probably dead regardless. I think BDD had a charge or 2 left, but still.
That's the desperation I was talking about earlier. You could feel it in NONGSHIM's play.
All right, Calyx going to be rotating over, and BDD comes in. The paranoia goes down as well as he gets over the wall, does BDD. And Strikebreaker's in for Cuz. They'll find the charm onto everyone because Peter's able to lock them all down. He won't be able to escape this time, and Jiu does create some distance. Featherstorm used mainly defensively, but Perfect gets in there. Calyx goes down. Jiu now trying to kite as best he can, and Kingin not going to be doing anything here. Lehens finally shows up, gets a cocoon onto BDD, who gets over and looks for Jiu. Jiu gets the shutdown, and now Perfect is just going to cut him down. And so it was almost a bit of an angle for NONGSHIM, but then they find everyone dead, and KT will be able to lock the rest up. Toktom just got out of the fight at the very end as well, and is now pushing the lane.
I mean, to try to put this into narrative, right, where we started this day off today with being like, all right, well, KT are on this insane tear. Momentum could not be higher, right? Which makes you worried if you're a KT fan. And NONGSHIM fighting to earn their spot in 4th, look for a revenge opportunity against T1, look to make an opportunity at MSI, just get stopped by this brick wall that is KT, the steamroller that is KT in this 3rd game. We like the draft, we like the angles. They got a huge lead in the top lane, and KT just outplay them in team fights. KT, with this roster that was built halfway through the season, solidified halfway through the season, where Perfect was being subbed out for casting. We had Paddock playing here.
Yeah.
We had Wei at the very beginning of the year. And it all's just coming together at the best possible time. As a former KT player, Lehens here is getting absolutely obliterated by Peter. The support gap feels pretty huge here, and that's not something I thought I was really going to be saying coming into this series. We know that Peter's been in pretty good form recently, but BDD unstoppable.
BDD has just been ridiculous.
And I feel like I have to, if they close this game out, which by the way, with a 6,000 goldie, 22 kills to 10, I would expect them to do. I think I still have to give palm to BDD, even though Peter's had an amazing game 3 here. He had a great ROLSTER game earlier.
I think Doctom's also had one of the best series of his career as well.
Yeah, how can you beat this team when they play this well? Like, they're playing perfectly.
Yep. Speaking of perfect, he's going to dive in on top of Gideon, and I don't think Gideon's going to be going anywhere. Finally, the Nocturne shows up as Ju puts the Arcane Shift on cooldown. He does get feared, Cuz taking some damage, but he just walks his way out. The footwork here from Ju is actually working, but unfortunately, he does not have a team anywhere else on the map. And now they're going to close in on him. The flash forward from Perfect and does get the stun. They get the knock up, and there is another ace for KT. This time it's clean, and this time I think it's just stamped themselves a ticket to Busan.
Yeah, they're going to have to wait for this wave, which will buy some time here, but it's going to be Pantheon and Elise that come up first here, and this team of KT ROLSTER is just so fed. They just don't care. They're looking to go in, take this inhibitor out, and fish for a pick. Lens, what can you do alone? 4 levels down on Peter in this game. 6 deaths on the Elise.
Oh, it's
clear the
ridiculous.
wave.
They are just going to try and clear the wave as best they can. This one last minion is going to be coming through, but now Lehen's doing some funny business. You walking out
TP
through the
flank.
base gates. Okay. The health bars are somewhat low. And let's see whether NONGSHIM can find the angle. The flash Tibbers is going to have to be insane, but he doesn't even have flash. Gideon comes in with the Grand Starfall. And there is the paranoia turn. NONGSHIM had to go for something, but I don't know whether this is going to work as they take down the Pantheon immediately, and BDD is looking for another charm. Onto Lehen's, back over the wall. They find another one, of course. Peter goes in there to throw himself away. The Tibbers comes on down. It's doing a fair bit of damage as now Cuz able to get the spell shield, and Doctom has singled out Jiu and will be able to pull back the feathers, but Jiu does get himself out of the way. Not quite enough there as Jiu will survive, and now looking for some Mystic shots towards Perfect. He has about 1.5 health.
Yeah, Doctom's red buff wasn't quite enough to kill him, but I don't think he can be relevant in this fight anymore as King in.
Oh dear, gets the control ward in. And so Perfect is going to just walk away.
I mean, the Hull Breaker cannon really isn't in a side lane Hull breaking right now. Unfortunately, just doesn't have the damage to look for anything there onto Perfect. That's going to be sole point here for KT.
Crucial Barrage picks the gap. It's nice, 6 points.
Now, the only thing more miraculous than KT's big comeback in this game, I feel like, would be NONGSHIM coming back from here.
There we go.
9,000 gold behind. They survive. They keep the base alive. They stop they get the teleport flank. They don't get the kills, but they stop the push. They save themselves. They don't stop the dragon. They don't have Baron vision, but hanging on by a thread of a thread that KT have a knife very firmly pressed against right now. I mean, to see a comeback here would be absolutely insane.
We've got multiple people in the bottom lane with a Baron alive. I've read in the textbook that is generally not a good thing. As BDD, he senses that there's someone here, and Gideon he just wanted to do some alcove gaming. In goes Cuz. They are going to kill the Pantheon, who does dive on top of BDD, but
he didn't have
just
ult.
Gonna die.
Just 10 seconds away. I think his game plan was to hide and try to ult for the steal, and then look for the 3-man to push for an inhib. Like, that was the plan.
You get to steal. The rest of them are on the bottom side of the map, taking an inner.
Exactly, but now it's just going to be defensive Baron minions that help defend this push. They do get the bounty on this inner, but that's all they're going to get. Geo looks for it.
Yeah, True Shot Barrage is just going to help them. And so Cuz and Doctom will be able to take this one down. Level 16 for Cuz as well, my god.
I can't fault Gideon for that.
No, you can't.
The best angle. Like, if they push 3, they get the steal, they get the inhib, then maybe they buy themselves some time in this game, but it just doesn't work. They get caught, they get called out. They were looking for him. They're like, where is he? I don't see where he is on the map. 3 people pushing. I don't think he's down there. We're doing Baron. He's got to be looking for the steal. KT just will not be caught off guard by any of NONGSHIM's plans or shenanigans.
Yeah, it's the fact that they went to check, right? It's the good play. It's not necessarily like Gideon making the wrong move, right? Because it's about desperation at this point. They are so far behind. It is 8,000 gold, and KT are just cruising their way towards a 3-0.
They're just like, no miracles allowed, you know? I'm just not going to let anything go wrong.
This is unprecedented amounts of good play from KT
in
one period of time.
It reminds me of 2023, where they were the first seed.
Yep. And so they are going to be heading, most likely, to Busan. We'll see if it's on the back of Peter's play here as, yeah, the Elise goes up and does get taken out once again. Perfect, going to be able to lock that one up, but it is just a kill on the Elise for now. There might be another fight in NONGSHIM. 25 seconds until Lehens is back up yet again. 1 and 8 though on the Elise. BDD just putting together his forbidden book. And
the ult.
yep, in they go once again. BDD turns back up again with that new thing bought from the library. And Tibbers is going to go down as an afterthought. Gideon also falling. And Kingen, yeah, he built a rage plate, but that's mainly because of his feelings, ladies and gentlemen. Nexus turret number 2 going to be taken out, and KT back-to-back clean sweeps to bring them to a telecom war in Busan.
6-0.